This is the Heybike Mars 2.0, and I decided to do this walk around in this shelter house today, but it looks like they're doing construction in here, so I'm going to make this quick and get out of here, but pardon the mess. But anyway, I'm really impressed with how powerful this bike is and how good looking the bike is. The video isn't doing it justice and the pictures don't do it justice. I thought this was going to be like a baby blue color, and I'm really surprised it's more of like a dull slate blue, and I think the color on the camera is oversaturating it. It looks a lot better in person. It's just a lot cooler looking color in person than what you're seeing on video here. But anyway, that's all beside the point. Let's do a walk around and see what we get with this bike. As you can see, it is a folding bike, and this is our locking and latching mechanism. You pull this, flip it out, and then you can flip the hinge in the middle. And this is our same type setup here. You unlock this latch, flip it down, and then you can fold the handlebars down, and it folds up into a really compact design. This bike weighs around 75 pounds, so as far as folding it goes, it is a little bit unwieldy, but the practicality is there. We do have folding pedals here, and they're folded right now. To get them to fold, you just push them in and push down, and you've got a little bit more room for packing the bike away that way. We're rolling on 20 by 4 inch fat tire. They are Chow Yangs, and it looks like we've got 180 millimeter disc brakes, and they are hydraulic brakes, and the stopping power on this bike is really nice. Plastic fenders, standard e-bike headlight. We've got a spot for mounting a basket up here if you would so choose. Suspension forks up front. We've got a lockout and some adjustment for the preload here. Up top, we've got faux leather comfort grips here. Our headlight button here, horn button. I've got the battery turned off, but that's what the horn sounds like. And this is what the headlight looks like when it's turned on. We've also got a tail light and a brake light in the back. Here's our power button so we can look at the screen. And it's a nice, bright, colorful screen. Pedal assist levels up and down. We've got 5 levels of pedal assist. We can tap these mode buttons to go through our different odometer and trip and things like that. The hydraulic brakes are RSX brand, and they feel really nice. We've got a thumb throttle over here on the right, 7-speed Shimano shifter. Really nice rack in the back. I really dig this rack. It's got like a pegboard style utilitarian build here, and you've got your rails up here that you can mount stuff on. It was really easy to put on the bike. You just slap it on and bolt it down. We got our derailleur guard here, Shimano derailleur, 7-speed cassette in the back. Pretty big sprocket up front, but you do end up ghost pedaling after about 20 miles per hour. This motor is just very powerful, and it is a 1,000 watt motor, and I think it peaks at 1,500 watts. I'll put the specs on the screen right here. The battery is a 48 volt 12 amp hour battery, so the downside is, as powerful as this bike is, once you get in the throttle and hold it there, you're going to run through this battery pretty quick. And it's easy to do on this bike. It really kind of wants you to go fast. If you baby it, a 12 amp hour battery should take you a pretty good distance though, and it does have a USB port here for charging your devices. And it's got a light so we can check the charge. Last but not least, we've got a fairly wide, pretty cushy seat here, and it's on a suspension seat post, so that should help absorb a lot of the bumps and dips and cracks that you would hit on your ride. Overall bike assembly was really easy, pretty standard. I just had to put the seat post in, put the rack on, put the front wheel on, put the pedals on, and put the stem on here. And the challenge with this, the biggest challenge with putting it all together, is that this is a quill style stem. So getting the handlebars lined up while they're folded, which is how you have to do it, is a little bit of a challenge, but you know, it's just a matter of trial and error and unloosening it, turning it, tightening it back up until you get it to the point where it needs to be. Something I think I forgot to mention on my initial walk around of this bike is that this bike actually is UL certified too, and I don't see too many e-bikes that come onto my channel that are truly UL certified, but this one actually is. Okay, so I've opened up the Heybike app and I want to add the bike now. I'm going to hit add bike, and I've got, oh, there it is. That was fast. I'm going to hit the link, add, and now it's saying to confirm the color of the bike. It's a blue one, so we're going to confirm that. We can set our pedal assist level as 0 through 3, 1 through 3, 0 through 5, 1 through 5. 0 through 5 is the default, and that's what I'm going to leave it at. We do have a map built in here. It looks like it's just pulling Google Maps, ride, and home, and it's still got a Christmas setting here. So bike settings, personalize. Here we go. Okay, so we can set our user top speed. We can set the speed for each pedal assist level. I like that. So what I'm going to do is fine tune this. I want to put level 1 at 10 miles per hour. I want to put level 2 at 15 miles per hour, because when I ride, I like to ride at 15 miles per hour or 20 miles per hour, or all out, everything it's got. So at level 3, I'm going to set this to 20. Level 4, I want to set at 28 miles per hour. That's the legal speed of a class 3 bike. So if I want to kind of like pretend that this is a legal bike when I'm out riding on the road, and I think I might be in an area where law enforcement might be nearby, I want to set that to 28 miles per hour. So, and level 5 is everything all out. And throttle speed limiter, when this is turned on, the throttle speed is limited to the current speed and the maximum pedal assist level. So basically, with that turned on, the throttle should cap out at 10 miles per hour if I'm in level 1, 15 in level 2, and so on and so forth. But if I turn this off, I believe the throttle will override all of those settings. I'm going to try that. I'm going to turn that off because I want to be able to pedal the bike in the lower speeds and treat it like a bicycle. But if I hit the throttle, I want it to give it everything it's got, and, you know, some get out the way power. Oh, we can adjust the screen brightness through this. I'm going to just keep it up on light. And here's our odometer reset, which is a little less cryptic than getting into the menu and resetting it that way. So I do want to reset the trip. We're at 3.9 miles. Cool, it reset that. So good, that's working the way it's supposed to work. Let's take it out and see how she rides. All right, I hope you can see these screens okay. It is very sunny out, and I've got quite a bit of glare on here. Like I said, I'm hoping you can see that. But the first test I want to do is to see if the throttle was actually tied to the pedal assist levels. I set the pedal assist level at 10 miles per hour for pedal assist 1, but the throttle's not tied to it, so we're going to test that out now. I'm in pedal assist level 1. I'm going to hit the throttle and just see if it exceeds 10 miles per hour. And it indeed has done that. We got up to 16 pretty fast. This bike does have some really, really peppy takeoff. Now I'm going to pedal the bike, and we're going to go through the different pedal assist levels. Like I said, I was in pedal assist level 1. I'm going to go down to pedal assist level 0 and just see what it's like to pedal this bike. Now, this bike is a double-edged sword. It's got a really short wheelbase, but it can leave you feeling a little cramped if you're kind of tall. I like it because it handles and turns on a dime with that short wheelbase, but if you are kind of taller, you might feel a little bit cramped. I've got the seat up kind of high for my height right now because I do like a good full pedal stroke, but I am feeling that the handlebars are a bit close to my knees here as far as, like, you know, pullback distance. Man, I've gotten this bike up to 12 miles per hour comfortably pedaling under my own power, and it's really not that difficult. I don't think the motor has kicked. Nope, going up this hill, I can definitely feel that the motor has not kicked in. So without motor assistance, it actually is pretty easy to ride, believe it or not. I'm kind of surprised by that because I forgot that I was even in pedal assist level 0. Anyway, we're going to go up to pedal assist level 1 now, and I set that at 10 miles per hour. So I'm actually overriding that with my own pedal power. And again, if I hit the throttle, it's going to take off with everything that it's got. I don't want to do that here because this is a heavy pedestrian area, so we're going to wait to do the full speed test until a little bit later on. Up to level 2, man, this motor's got some power, and when it kicks in hard. So at level 2, we're up to 16 on the speedometer, and it looks like the speedometer is accurate. I set that for 15 in the app, and it's gone faster than that already. So keep in mind, this thing kicks like a bull when it kicks in. I really don't need to go any faster than this on these pedestrian trails. So as soon as I get a spot where I can see that I'm clear, I'll open it up a little bit more. We'll go off in the grass here. And it's handling the grass all right too. Smooth ride. It doesn't have rear suspension, but it's not bad. All right, it looks like we are clear of pedestrians now. Once I get around this curve, I'm going to take it up into level 3. This should take us up to 20 miles per hour, and this is under me pedaling, and it has exceeded that rapidly. So whatever the app settings were, those are not accurate. I'm going to go back down to level 2. And yeah, that really shot up to 23 miles per hour there pretty fast, and it looks like the speedometer did match GPS. So as far as the app settings go, I would say that's a dud. We've got a hill coming up here. The deeper I get on this trail, the less pedestrians we should be running into, so I can get a little bit more speed testing in. But yeah, 25 miles per hour is just way too fast for a trail like this, especially as many pedestrians as we have out today. Let's try to go through all of our pedal assist levels here on this straightaway. I'm going to go pedal assist level 1, no throttle, me pedaling. And it looks like it got up to about 10.5 miles per hour. Speedometer is matching. Pedal assist level 2. 15, 16. Level 3. Yeah, it should be capping at 20 if it was to match the app. Okay, maybe I was going downhill. Maybe I had a little bit of a hill advantage. All right, we got a hill here. And I'm going to test this hill out throttle only. I am going to go up to pedal assist level 5 for this, which might be a little too much, but here we go. Throttle only up this hill, me not pedaling. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to crush this hill. Yeah, it ripped right up it, no problem. All right, we got another straightaway here. I'm going to take off in pedal assist level 4 since we keep running out of straightaway. I'm going to do pedal only, and we're going to take off. Now, one thing I've noticed with this bike is that when you take off pedaling, it does take a few cranks before it kicks in right away. But keep in mind that you've always got the throttle if you need that instant boost to take off. That's not necessarily a bad thing, having that slow takeoff if you're trying to like navigate through like a pedestrian area. So you don't want it to like jump up in speed right away. So when you're relying on a pedal, it's nice that you can have that like low speed takeoff. But here we go. That's half a crank, full crank, two cranks there, and about 3 cranks the power kicked in. And this should take us up to 28 miles per hour. All right, we hit 27, 28.2, 28.8, 29. but the speedometer is reading 29, or the GPS, excuse me, is reading 29. And again, we run out of straightaway. I'm not going to put this all the way up in level 5 on these trails. I'll wait till I get out on the road for that. All right, I'm up in pedal assist level 5 now, and we're going to take it down the road. It should have plenty of power to keep up with traffic, and this is a spot where I should definitely be using throttle, so that's what I'm going to do. I am ghost pedaling at 29. It peaked up to 32 on the bike speedometer, and they 33, 31 on speed on the GPS, and they only claim 31 on this bike anyway, so that passes my tests. And the speedometer is fairly accurate with GPS, within a mile. So again, that's good enough for my tests. Okay, so this is easily the fastest folding bike I've ever ridden. There are some downsides to that though. I would say that when you get up past 30 miles per hour, this bike geometry is not really made for those speeds. You can easily combat that by putting the seat down and having a bit lower center of gravity. And that's going to make riding this bike more like riding a motorcycle anyway. And at that speed, you're not getting your full pedal stroke out of it anyway. You're just ghost pedaling. So if you want to plan to ride it like a motorcycle, just do that. The other part of that equation is that these T handlebars set up high, and it's a thing that's on pretty much all folding bikes. You can find a few exceptions to that, but for the most part, all folding bikes are going to have these tall T handlebars. And what they do is they put your center of gravity up higher, so when you're riding fast, it feels a little bit squirrely. Now you can get a different neck stem and change that out. Another YouTuber, David Brand New, makes what's called a turtleneck shorty, and you can change these bars out for a BMX bar. I'm going to put a link to that product down in the description. I don't make any money off of that. I just think it's kind of a cool, innovative product, and it helps people out. So I just want to throw that down in there for anybody who would be interested in checking something like that out. I really like this bike so much that I'm probably going to get one of those and go with that setup, because this bike is kind of made to be ridden fast. You're not going to really get any exercise on this bike unless you just completely turn the motor all the way off and ride it in pedal assist level 0. When this 1,000-watt motor kicks in, it kicks in hard, and it takes off like a rocket. And I'm riding in pedal assist level 2 right now, 15 miles per hour. And I mean, I'm not really doing much to pedal along with it. I'm up in 7th gear doing my best to give it some power, but I mean, this bike pretty much rides like a mini little motorcycle as it is. So the other downside to this thing being so fast and so powerful is that if you take it up in the higher pedal assist levels, you're going to burn through the 12.5 amp hour battery pretty fast. Most of the kind of riding that I do is lower speed riding like this anyway. I ride at like 15 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour tops on trails like this. So I almost never get up to those higher speeds anyway. But if I go out on the road and I'm negotiating with car traffic, you better believe it, I'm going to go up into those higher speeds. But it is going to tear through that battery pretty fast when you start putting, I think I calculated that this bike would take 1,300 peak watts, just a little over 1,300 peak watts. So that's going to burn through the battery pretty fast.
It appears that we have a 28 amp controller, so will this push the bike all the way up to its listed maximum of 1,800 watts? By my math, no, but it will push this bike up to just over 1,300 watts, which is pretty impressive.
So this bike is made for fun and not comfort. It's not uncomfortable, but the seat is not the most comfortable thing I've ever sat on, and the suspension seat post does help absorb a lot, but it also contributes to that like bouncy, floaty feeling that when you get up to the higher speeds, you probably don't necessarily want that. This bike doesn't have a rear suspension. The only thing it has is that suspension seat post, but when you're riding along at, say, 32 miles per hour and you hit a bump, yeah, you don't want it to jar your bones, but at the same time, you don't want it to bounce and float you either. So it might be within the best interest, if you're going to ride the bike low, to get a non-suspension seat post and throw in there, and like I said, just ride it like a motorcycle. Now this bike does ride pretty low, so if you're a short rider and you need to go to that like lower suspension seat post, it should accommodate a pretty short rider. I am 5'10" and I do feel a little bit cramped on this bike, so I wouldn't want to ride it on a really long distance, but zipping around town with its short wheelbase and how quick it turns on a dime and the way it handles is a lot of fun. And I weigh 200 pounds and it's carrying me along like I'm not even here. All right, this hill right here, I don't know if you can tell from the fisheye on the camera lens or not, but this is the e-bike crusher. This thing, most e-bikes cannot make it up this hill. If this one can or not, let's find out. Pedal assist level 5, I'm not pedaling. Oh man, barely. Okay, it did it. But honestly, I thought it was going to do better with that. I think I calculated 1,300 watt peak between the voltage and the controller that we could get out of this. All right, I'm going to get another go at it this time around, and this time I'm going to pedal to help it, but here we go. Yeah, with me helping pedal it, it's tearing right up it, but yeah, like I said, I'm a little surprised that it didn't just rip right up it on its own. This is a pretty powerful motor. It just doesn't really have that much torque, I guess. We're going to do a little bit of off-roading, and I'm just going to do this with throttle. I got it in 4th gear, so if I do need to help, I can. It's definitely not what I would call comfortable, but the suspension seat post is better than nothing as far as a suspension goes. If you get a roll off at it and help it, it goes right up the hills without any problems. And I got a stick stuck in the fender. But I don't really know the best way to describe it as far as how the motor takes off. Like when it takes off on flat ground, it takes off like a rocket. But if you're going up really, really steep hills, you do kind of have to get a roll off at it and help it a bit. This thing would be a lot better with like shorter handlebars for stuff like this. But let's be real, this bike was not made for like off-roading. This is like a casual vacationer bike with a really big, powerful motor. With that being said, a 750 watt version is available at a lower price, like $100 less. But why would you buy the 750 watt version when you can buy this one for $100 more? Come on, let's be real here. Okay, so as we can see, we're down to 2 bars, and I have run the ever-living hell out of this bike today. So I've burnt through that 12.5 amp hour battery pretty fast. We've done, it says 9.3 miles on the built-in speedometer, 8.2 miles on my GPS app. So if I'm going to make it back without pedaling this thing on my own, I better head on back now. And we're going to be heading back under pedal assist level 2, taking it easy to preserve battery life, and that's going to be getting us back at about 15 miles per hour. All right, my final thoughts on the Heybike Mars 2.0. This bike is a bit small, but it is a lot of fun and it has a lot of power. It's really fast. With that being said, I do wish it had a bit bigger battery. Because the rear motor is so powerful, it drinks the juice very, very fast. It looks like a pretty standard e-bike battery fit, so finding a second battery for it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I will say this bike is a bit of an odd duck because it's got the geometry and comfort level built for like a casual vacation rider, but it's got the power that kind of leans more towards pleasing a absolute hellraiser. It's so much fun to ride that I will probably get some BMX handlebars and put on it and lean more into the hell-raising aspect of owning this bike. Anyway, that's just what I'm going to do with it. Somebody else might have something completely different in mind. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. But be sure to stick around until the end of the video to see the final range results for this bike. All right, we're back to the beginning of the ride here, and as we can see, we are down to 1 bar. I did run the ever-living hell out of this thing today. I did some top speed tests, hill climbing tests, and I did that off-road stuff, and it really tore through the battery pretty fast. The GPS is showing that we're at 13.4 miles for our total trip, and the built-in speedometer says that we're at 15 miles on the odometer. So there's some discrepancy there. It did look like the speedometer was pretty accurate within like a mile per hour basically, but that's where we're at for the Heybike Mars. The motor is a lot of fun, it's got a lot of power, but I would say that the Achilles heel of this bike is that battery, and if you're going to run the motor at top speed a lot, you're going to rip through that battery pretty fast. So if you get this bike for range, you're going to have to ride very mindfully. I would say that if you're more interested in range, check out the 750 watt version of this bike and stay away from the 1000 watt version that peaks supposedly at 1800 watts. I was able to get 1300 watts based on my math, but again, 1300 watts from a 12 amp hour battery is going to rip through that pretty fast.